the last video I made a while back, which you should definitely watch by the way, a few of the comments said they thought Applejack was the most hated. Well, was she? Is it true that Applejack got the short end of the stick just as much as Stretch Sauce? So let me add something on the table. Is Applejack really that boring? Hey, I don't want any hate, and don't worry for any slander. She's an okay pony. All I'm saying is a goof. Maybe a bit of a shenanigans. In my opinion, I think Applejack is kind of fire. So why the people hate her?
Let go. Are you crazy? No, I ain't. I promise you'll be safe. But listen here, what I'm saying to you is the honest truth. Let go and you'll be safe.
Also, get used to this face. In Rarity slander video, I put the Y at the very end. Here, however, I'm putting it at the beginning. So let's start with the basics. Applejack is the element of honesty. Pretty cool, right? But when teaching kids, yeah, but as an entertaining character, that's a pretty high barrier to jump across. In Applejack's case, she's down to earth, reliable, dependent. Huh? What was I talking about? Yeah, there isn't many ways to make farm characters interesting unless if you flanderize them and exaggerate them to a point where they're unrecognizable. And if any of one of you says, oh, what about the Pie family's rock farm? There's a difference between a traditional western farm and a Amish rock farm. Look, I'm not saying that Applejack is a completely boring character. I'm just saying that compared to the OCD of Twilight Sparkle, the insanity of Pinkie Pie, and the gayness of Rainbow Dash, yeah, that's kind of hard competition. Okay then, let's compare her to her family. But I'm only doing her siblings, Big Macintosh and Apple Bloom. Why? Well, Granny Smith is more seen as a gag character than an actual relatable character. Not background characters, but side characters such as Goldie Delicious and Brayburn have barely any screen time to be compared to Applejack. And her parents... Wait, hold up, I got a call. Hello? They're dead. Well, let's begin, shall we? Well, comparing Applejack to Apple Bloom, after doing really extensive research, I found that since Apple Bloom is a filly, if you don't know what it means, it's horse terminology for a female young equine. Look it up, it's an actual thing. And since Apple Bloom is so young, there are tons and tons of room to develop her character, unlike a certain farm pony. And, you know, that she's also a part of the CMC, and that kind of really separates her from being another farm pony of the Apple family. But what about Big Macintosh? Yeah, I was just about to get into him. Well, Big Mac has a lot of insecurities, more than Applejack, such as the amazing episode, actually, Brother Hoof Social. You should watch it if you haven't already, which I doubt. You also had this whole love arc in the later seasons with Sugar Belle. Not bad for a pony who only says 2 lines of dialogue. This is one of the reasons I think why people find Applejack boring. Not because she's the most boringest character alive, it's because that there are so many more ponies who have much more appeal than her. And you know the point of Big Mac and Sugar Belle wouldn't be valid if they made Apple Dash canon. You know, Applejack, you say honesty is the best policy, but right up after My Little Pony Friendship is Magic is your basic ass reality TV show. I'm sure every pony is completely honest and is completely interesting and nobody lies in that show. Oh, I didn't realize you were there. Anyways, let's pull back the curtains and travel back in time to the late 2000s when MLP G4 was still in production. Fun fact, Lauren Fowles wasn't actually the one who made Applejack. It was actually inspired by a Gen 1 pony with the same name. And after a lawsuit Hasbro had to deal with, they were only left with the copyright and free usage of Spike and Applejack. This is why those Gen 1 ponies had to be redesigned into the main set we all know and love. such as turning Surprise into Pinkie Pie. Yeah, you know, Pinkie Pie was originally supposed to be a Pegasus. Well, anyways, we're getting off topic. Applejack's design relatively stayed the same. All Lauren Faust did was added a sweet cowboy hat. But maybe they should have changed the design, because out of all of the main 6, Applejack is the most criticised and joked about for being and kinda looking like a background pony. Well, her design isn't really so bad, but it wouldn't really hurt if they added like some defining feature that made her stand out of the crowd, or whatever. Luckily, those MLP redesigning videos on YouTube have been going pretty popular recently. Hey, I might do one myself. Anyways, let's circle back to Applejack's personality because we need to talk about her. In the previous video, let's do a flashback. Ooh.
However, what makes her and the rest of the main 6 to an extent really interesting is their flaws. Flaws and quirks is the bread and butter of creating a character. If you are wondering why, you probably heard the phrase, nobody's perfect, except me. I'm perfect. But when writing a fictional character, the best way you can do that is by making flaws about them. It kinda makes fictional characters, well, you know, more real.
So yeah, about that, the only flaws I can think for Applejack at the top of my head is that she's too stubborn and maybe too honest, I guess. Some of you may say, hey, what's the point of it? Like, not having any flaws, isn't that a good thing? Well, contrary to popular belief, having flaws in a fictional character is a way to make them, you know, 3-dimensional. And that is why I think why people find Applejack so boring. If she had more realistic flaws that are based around her to show that she's more relatable, or if they added flaws on top of her already existing ones, maybe she wouldn't be so boring to others. Me? What do I think about her? Well, I'm kinda really indifferent. I ain't supporting the hate though, but opinions are opinions and blah 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 blah. In conclusion, good night and good riddance.